Okay, welcome back. Sorry I was late again getting going here. Yeah, just stuff to do. Before we get to the review, I just want to reiterate something that I talked about last time. The guys over at the Heelcast at tnasylum.net are trying to start a movement within the fan community to create some change in TNA as regards to the roster. Trying to create some change in creative in terms of getting some attention put on the X Division for a change. You may have noticed that once again there was no X Division segment on Impact this week. It's a pretty common occurrence these days. They want to try to change that, so they're trying to encourage all fans who want to see something change about that to tweet to Dixie Carter, John Gaburik, Impact Wrestling, Dave Lagana, all those people to hashtag revive the X Division, tell them why you want the X Division back, and just let them know how you feel. Tell them that you want to see something done about this. You know, they've been promising to do something about this for a long time. For whatever reason, it just never happens, and they're trying to change that. Also, check out check out the Heelcast at tnasylum.net. There's going to be links to a petition you can sign for that. Also, we're trying to create some change in the knockout division as well, because that's another division that's been very neglected. Sorry. So tweet to Dixie Carter, Impact Wrestling, John Gaburik, Dave Lagana, all those people. Tweet hashtag Cherry Bomb for TNA. We're trying to get Cherry Bomb a contract, for the love of God. There are a number of other people that I'd like to see get signed also, but Cherry Bomb seems to be the one who is closest to getting signed at this moment. So we're focusing on her right now. I would also accept hashtag Jennifer Blake for TNA, but Cherry Bomb is the one we're focusing on. So tweet those people, hashtag Revive the X Division, hashtag Cherry Bomb for TNA if you want to see some positive change in these two divisions. And I'll go over that later on as well. So, let's talk about Impact Wrestling now. This was the night that we finally said goodbye to Kurt Angle and TNA. All things considered, I think this came off quite well. If there's one thing I would have changed about the whole thing, it probably would have been Dixie Carter's involvement. I could have done without her being out there in the opener. I don't think she needed to be there. She certainly did play a huge role in bringing Kurt Angle to TNA. But the segment wasn't about her, and the show was clearly on a time crunch as it is. And honestly, I would have preferred her not being out there to all the other things that got cut. Anyway, she introduces Kurt. Kurt talks for a while. Drew Galloway comes out, and it turns into the love fest that Kurt Angle rightfully deserves. You know, he touches on a lot of things here, the problems he had in the past, and how he became a better person working for this company. There's a lot of emotion here. It's really nice to have a retirement be a triumphant, feel-good moment rather than a depressing one. More often than not, it's the latter. So this was kind of a rarity. And it was really nice to see that. Angle's going out on his own terms, the way he wants to, and I'm very happy about that. So this was nice. Figures my voice is fine all day, and then finally when I start this, suddenly I got a frog in my throat. So anyway, Lashley comes out at that point for the final hype for Kurt's final match. Lashley will never be scintillating on the microphone, but he did a decent enough job for Lashley here, I suppose. Pretty great segment overall. With or without Dixie's involvement, it did everything it needed to do in a pretty classy way, and I thought they gave Kurt a really nice send-off here. Now, I'm going to be skipping around a little bit this time, but the knockouts. Jade getting a knockouts title shot against Gail Kim. Not shockingly, it only took Gail Kim 2 weeks, just 2 weeks to get that win back. At least the match got some time, not a lot, but some. And it was a really good competitive match where Jade looked pretty strong in defeat. It wasn't an outright squash, so Gail didn't shovel too much dirt on Jade this time. But she still lost. And I'm sorry, but I have very little patience for the keep Gail Kim on top at any cost mentality of this division these days. I don't want to see it anymore. The Knockouts are desperately lacking a credible top heel right now, and Jade is the closest thing they've got to one. I'm not saying she needed to win this match, but she really needed to not lose. Unfortunately, that's what happened. Once again, Gail Kim is reinforced as being better than everyone else in the Knockout, and the Knockouts continue to stagnate because of that. I'm crossing my fingers for a new girl debuting to challenge Gail on Tuesday, #CherryBomb for TNA, because if they don't get some new faces that can make an immediate impact in this division really fucking soon, I don't know where else they can go with it. Very strong match regardless, though. I really enjoyed it. There is an issue here, however. As far as work rate among the active roster is concerned, this is pretty much it for the Knockouts right now, is these two right here. If anything happens to Gail and Jade, this division is dead. I mean, what would they be left with at that point? Madison versus Marty? Shouldn't they have more to fall back on than that? I mean, yeah, they've got Rosemary waiting in the wings. I'm looking forward to her getting in the ring, but they still need more girls that can wrestle. And teasing that Maria Kanellis might get in the ring is not going to fix this problem. They need to get some new, strong workers in there as soon as they can make it happen. There's no reason why that shouldn't start this coming Tuesday. #CherryBomb for TNA, #Jennifer Blake for TNA, tweet Dixie Carter, tweet John Gaburek, tweet Impact Wrestling. Also, there was a problem with the way this match started. After Jade pinned Gail in Lethal Lockdown, after Jade laid Gail out last week, actually looking like a semi-legit threat to the title for a hot second, Jade gets a title shot where her entrance is not even shown on TV. TNA, let me explain something to you. If you want Jade to work out, if you want her to be the one to take over for Gail after Gail retires, and it seems like you do, you're talking about her on the show as if you do. If you want Jade to get over like a star, you have to present her like a star. And part of that is showing her fucking entrance, not just for big matches, but always showing it on general principles. You know who get their entrances cut for time? Jobbers. Jobbers get that. When you do this, you're sending a message to the audience that this person is not important because they weren't worth the effort it would take to make time for them. Doing that with Jade is stupid and counterproductive. Cut somebody else's entrance. Give Dixie Carter a few less minutes of screen time. Give Grado a few less minutes of screen time. Or, even better, cut the Grado segment entirely. So I don't have to gouge my eyes out at any point during your show. Or, maybe get somebody to time the show who actually knows how to do it properly. That would work too. Next. Next, we have our big money tag team dream match that TNA have been building up to for months. Beer Money versus the Wolves for the tag team titles, where neither team gets their entrance shown. Okay, seriously, I want to know who fucking timed this show. Because you might be able to make an excuse for Jade. This, however, this was inexcusable. This was the biggest tag team feud you've had in ages, between the two biggest tag teams you've had in ages. These guys should not be getting their entrances cut under any circumstances, and certainly not when they're coming out for the biggest tag team match you've had in ages. For fuck's sake. Anyway, how was the match? Well, oh boy. I might get some heat for saying this, but I was a little disappointed with it, actually. It certainly wasn't bad. It was a very good match. I'd call it disappointing only because expectations were so high, and I don't feel like they quite reached the bar they set for themselves. Part of it was the crowd being dead, but I didn't get the sense that these guys were completely clicking in there for a lot of it. I don't want to sound critical because it was still very good, but if we were expecting Beer Money to have the same magical chemistry that with the Wolves that they had with the Motor City Machine Guns, I don't think they did. At least not this time. It's a testament to both teams that it was still as good as it was, but something just seemed off somehow, and I didn't feel like things were starting to really gel until Storm and Rude broke out the Beer Money chant. Things improved after that, and it seemed like they were really starting to click, but then Davey got injured, and they probably had to improvise the finish, so that's really unfortunate. They all worked hard, and this didn't turn out quite as well as I was hoping it would. Again, not a criticism, because expectations were super high, but I think this match was outdone by the Wolves Decay Monsters Ball match from a few weeks ago. They did have the right team go over, though. I think Beer Money winning was the best thing for everybody, and not just because Davey can't wrestle for a while. The Wolves needed to lose here, because if they beat Beer Money, then what the hell else can you possibly do with them? You know? Now the Wolves have a new challenge when Davey comes back, and you can transition into, I'm assuming, Beer Money versus the Decay for the time being. I think that's the best way to go right now, definitely. Moving on. Let me ask you guys something. Did you know there was going to be a King of the Mountain match this week? My guess is you probably didn't unless you followed TNA's Twitter account. Why do a match like this if you're going to make it impossible, unless you're going to make it impossible for people to miss? I don't know. On top of that, most of the guys in this match did not get their entrances shown. At least in this case, it was the indie guys they were using for the UK tour and not actual members of the roster, so you can sort of understand it. But TNA, if you're going to do a King of the Mountain match on Impact with zero fanfare, where the only promotion it gets is a match graphic on Twitter, a match that feels so random that you don't even bother to tell us the names of the participants before the match starts, don't expect me, or anyone for that matter, to get excited about it. I honestly had no idea there was going to be a King of the Mountain match this week. This is something that should have been a really big deal, and because of the lack of fanfare it had, because of the half-assed way you just threw it out there as if it was just something to fill time, it felt like the complete opposite. Also, by King of the Mountain standards, it was really short and underwhelming in my opinion, to the point where I was wondering why they even bothered with it. I mean, it's not like this show was lacking for big matches, and it didn't have the time to feel like anything more than glorified filler. And I don't know how some of these guys got in there either. Last week, Big Damo lost to Eric Young, Jimmy Havoc lost to Abyss, and this week they're both getting a title shot? How does that make sense? Why is Jimmy Havoc in this match but not Abyss when he lost to Abyss last week? And then look, everybody, it's Will Ospreay for 5 minutes, and now we'll probably never see him again. So all you people tweeting hashtag Revive the X Division, that's all you get this week. The match was just kind of there. It needed more time, and I don't feel like it was a great showcase for any of the UK talents. Maybe they got a moment here, a moment there, but I didn't think any of them got a chance to stand out, and overall I thought this was rushed and could have been executed a lot better. Next, Mike Bennett wants to be named the #1 contender to the World Championship, and Drew Galloway has a problem with that. You know, the promos were good here. I'm not against the feud. I just think that this is not the right time to do it. Both guys are in a position where they really shouldn't be losing matches right now, so I'm not sure how you book this. You need to be protecting both guys at the moment, or you risk stalling their momentum. So how does one get over on the other? I don't know. Either way, I think doing this feud right now could end up being damaging to one of them unless they're really careful. I mean, Drew is coming off the biggest win of his career against Kurt Angle, and Mike Bennett is still, a very new talent. One who TNA seemed to want to fast-track to main event status. So, how do you put one guy over the other in a meaningful way? Either way, one guy is going to get hurt, and it's a guy that you don't want getting hurt right now. It's a really tough situation. I'm not sure how you book that. Okay. Now, the Grado shit. Oh boy. Every time I think this can't get any stupider, it does. I repeat my question from last week. Is he fired or not? Because I swear, the answer to that question seems to change every single week. First, he's getting taken out of the arena by security because he doesn't work there. Then, the week after that, they give him his own pre-tape to talk in. The week after that, they give him a live mic on the show, and nobody seems to have any idea what the hell his deal is. And Josh Matthews even calls attention to this. He asks, why are we giving him a live mic? I don't know, Josh. I really don't know. Probably for the same reason why he got his own pre-tape last week. Because this storyline keeps contradicting itself and has no fucking rules because it's an insulting, terribly written piece of garbage. So, Grado claims to have video proof that he got screwed over and Feaster fired, and suddenly the writers managed to take a completely asinine situation and make it even worse. If there is video proof that Eli Drake switched their cases, then why hasn't anyone seen it? I'm assuming one of the cameramen must have filmed this happening, so no one saw that until now? Why? Video evidence is not the kind of thing that just materializes out of thin air after several weeks. The cameramen would have had to turn in their cameras to the production crew, the editor would have gone over all the dailies. To suggest that this video evidence exists and no one saw it until now is, well, asinine, insulting, and terrible writing. Then Eli Drake comes out again, and Grado embarrasses him again. And TNA take this big potential breakout heel and make him look like a fucking chump again. All just to put over that irritating jackass piece of shit Grado. This was crap. This whole storyline is crap. Eli Drake deserves better than this, and so do we. Hashtag go away Grado. Jesus Christ. And then, at long last, we come to Kurt Angle's final match in TNA. I'm not sure how to feel about this exactly. On the one hand, TNA really hit a home run in how they presented this, showing clips of Kurt's memorable moments in the company. Could have been doing that, a few weeks in advance, but at least they did it. I said last week that I wanted to see this, and they went ahead with it, and they did it, and that's good. Showing clips of YouTube videos where fans say goodbye to Kurt. Great touch. Again, they could have been doing that for a couple of weeks, but at least they did it. Better late than never. Giving him the main event, the final match of the UK tour, and it's a big match against a guy like Lashley that Kurt handpicked for this spot. They have a really good match. Kurt, God bless him, does the classy thing and puts Lashley over. Lashley didn't even need help from 10 other people to beat him, which was a bit of a relief. And there's this really nice moment between the two of them. Every base was covered here, and the stage seemed set for a really touching, emotional send-off for Kurt Angle. And then they turned it into an angle at the end when Lashley turns heel and lays him out. This I'm a little conflicted on. On the one hand, it felt like doing this cheapened the moment of Kurt's goodbye. On the other, Kurt's not going to be there anymore, and this gives them a great segue into a big new direction for Lashley. And him tarnishing Kurt's goodbye party like this really did make Lashley look like a scumbag. I felt ambivalent about Lashley as a character for most of the time I've been watching him, but this was one of the first times I really felt engaged by what he was doing, because he did something that genuinely pissed me off. And not in a bad way either, more like that bastard heel, I want to see somebody kick his ass now. Plus, I really don't think they would have done this if Kurt hadn't been okay with it, so I'm at peace with this. Kurt's always been high on Lashley, and if this was Kurt's way of passing the ball to Lashley on his way out the door, that's just another example of the class that this guy has and why Kurt Angle is going to be so sorely missed. So, while I kind of wanted to see Kurt's final moments on Impact just be about him saying goodbye and not be turned into something else, they didn't waste the opportunity this gave them, and I feel like they accomplished something big here. Although, Lashley versus EC3 again. I don't know. I mean, it's a big feud. It's one of the biggest feuds they could possibly make right now, but we've already seen it. We've seen that a couple times now, so I don't know. Maybe they'll find a new twist on it somehow. Oh, God. Please don't let Lashley get involved in the title match next week. I don't need to see Matt Hardy going over EC3 again. Ugh. So that's where we end things for the week. I was hot and cold on this Impact. Honestly, I thought Kurt Angle's farewell was handled great, but there were some serious timing issues. Once again, the X Division was completely ignored. Hashtag revive the X Division. And the King of the Mountain match was thrown out there as glorified filler, and the Grado garbage continues to be garbage. I'd say they gave Kurt Angle a very fitting send-off, though, so at least they got the most important thing right. And that'll be it for the UK tour, I guess. Now they're back in the States starting this Tuesday, unfortunately. So back to the smaller crowds and, oh boy, back to the Impact Zone. But we got a live show on Tuesday, so at least the fans ought to be awake for that one. The audience ought to be awake for that one. So, once again, if you want to see a change, a positive change in the X Division, in the Knockout Division, please tweet Dixie Carter, John Gaburek, Impact Wrestling, Dave Lagana. Tweet them, hashtag Revive the X Division, hashtag Cherry Bomb for TNA. Let's all team up on this. Let's try to create some positive change in this company for once. Let's not be like the rest of the angry assholes in the IWC. Let's try to do something positive here, okay? Again, you can go check out the Heelcast at tnasylum.net for details on that. Yeah, they got some links. They got some. They got a petition you can sign. And with that, let's go to the chat room. Sorry about my voice. I don't know. I don't know why it's being like this. It was fine until I started here, and then suddenly it just craps out. Okay, like the heel turn by Lashley. Hopefully EC3 Lashley feud happens. Okay, so that's one vote in favor of that. My only problem with EC3 Lashley is that we've already seen it. Of course, the face heel dynamics are different now, so it could be a different story here this time. Not that it was bad before. I just like to see something else. I hope to God, if not, Lashley aligns with either Raquel or Fat Lardy. I don't think he'll be aligning with Matt Hardy. My fear is that he will get involved in the title match next week because they're doing Hardy versus EC3 for the title again. I'm kind of expecting Lashley to jump in there, and I'd be okay with a DQ finish as long as it doesn't lead to Hardy going over EC3 again, because I don't need to see that again. Do you consider checking out WWE Roadblock? If the show turns out good, I will watch it, and the next stream I will let you know how the show turned out. I don't have a lot of interest in Roadblock, mainly because how it's being set up and how to an extent, they're kind of throwing WrestleMania under the bus to promote Roadblock. I think they were talking about Roadblock more than WrestleMania on Raw last week, which is kind of baffling to me. And there isn't a lot on that show that interests me. I mean, Brock versus Bray Wyatt? Seriously? Bray Wyatt's a fucking jobber, you guys. They've turned him into a jobber. Now I'm supposed to think that he's going to beat Brock Lesnar? Fuck you. And the whole Triple H Ambrose thing, maybe I'd like to see that match, but consider what they're doing here and how that's going to affect WrestleMania. All they're really doing is getting people invested in Triple H versus Dean Ambrose, which inevitably is going to make the fans resent Roman Reigns resent Roman Reigns even more when he gets the spot at WrestleMania. It's going to feel like, he's taking the spot that Ambrose should be in. I would not be surprised at all if there were We Want Ambrose chants during the main event at WrestleMania because of this. If they think they're doing Roman Reigns any favors by keeping him off TV right now, on the road to WrestleMania while Ambrose gets pushed in his place when it's Reigns who's getting the title match at WrestleMania, they're stupid. That is not going to work. That's going to work against Reigns, and he already had a lot of stuff working against him as it is. I want Bobby Lashley to be a heel by himself. Well, the problem with that is he can't really talk that well. I would like to see Lashley as a heel with a mouthpiece. Now it seems like Raquel may or may not be that mouthpiece. Problem is she doesn't seem to be able to talk that well either. So I'm not sure what the plan is for that. EC3 saving Kurt Angle from Lashley was an emotional moment. Not Kurt, not Eddie, not even Drew. Only EC3 is a threat to Lashley. EC3 has never looked this legit. Yeah, that was really nice. Those other guys tried to stop Lashley. They couldn't do it. And then EC3 sort of walks out, and Lashley just takes off. He doesn't want any part of the ass-kicking machine. Nah, he knows who that is. Lashley's heel turn came off very stale, in my opinion. He was already showing the signs, which made it incredibly obvious. Seems to be the norm with writers in professional wrestling. I don't totally agree. I mean, yeah, we kind of saw it coming. But I think... Oh, the fucking phone's ringing again. Why not let the machine get it? I think... When you do a heel turn... I think you don't necessarily have to go for surprise. It kind of depends on the guy and it depends on the story. Sometimes not being surprising is okay as long as the story works. In this case, I felt like the story worked. And I kind of prefer that over shock value in this case. Because if they tried to go for shock value, then it would have kind of felt too Russo-esque and kind of tainting Angle's final moments on the show with a swerve, quote unquote. I preferred the story being effective over shock value in this case. Rebel Raquel equal green. Oh yeah. Raquel is about as green as she could possibly be. I think she's had, 3 matches now? Yeah, not in any hurry to see her wrestle on TV. No, that should not be happening anytime soon. I think Jade was actually somewhat protected with that finish. Yeah, it wasn't a complete burial. I think Gail comes off the top turnbuckle for a big splash, and then Jade kind of rolls her over as she almost gets the pin, and then they do the trading pins thing for a second, and Gail barely beats her. She looked strong in defeat, but it was still a defeat. And that's the problem. Jade's in kind of a precarious position right now where, she started off well, but then she was getting buried for a pretty lengthy period, and then they were starting to build her up again, and she was almost starting to look pretty strong there, and then she loses again. It's just... I repeat, she really needed to not lose that match. That would have been very beneficial. It could have been a DQ finish. It could have been, a number of different things, but anything other than a straight-up loss. Because a loss doesn't do anything for her. It just knocks her back down, and they can't afford to be knocking Jade down right now, because in terms of credible heels in the knockouts, she's all they've got right now. The closest thing they've got to a credible heel, like I said. And she needs help. She doesn't need to be losing to anyone. And certainly not Gail. Gail won, yes, but it was a roll-up counter. Jade looked pissed. It was shown on camera. The commenters were quick to mention how competitive the match was and how Gail hasn't seen the last of Jade. Yeah, I agree. They were trying to cover the loss somewhat, but my argument remains the same. Something I didn't know is Micah no longer with TNA. He's in New Japan. Yeah, looks like Micah's done in TNA. I'm not losing sleep over that. Was not a fan of just the thought of a Maria Gale feud because Maria sucks in the ring, and the last thing they need is Maria as the Knockouts champ. Agreed? So TNA needs Cherry Bomb, Jennifer Blake, maybe Kaylee Ray. Oh, no maybes about it. Kaylee Ray would be a huge boon to them right now. Me and the heel cast guys are kind of focusing on Cherry Bomb for the time being because, again, she seems to be the one on the short list, the one with the best chance of getting signed, and one who could be on TV as early as this Tuesday. All it would take is one phone call because she's available, she wants to work for them, and she's not shy about letting that be known, and it would be real easy to set up. They've got several built-in storylines that they could insert her into just like that. They could have her be a girl that Maria brings in to take on Gail. There's history between Cherry Bomb and Gail on TV when she was working as Laura Dennis a couple times. They could have her go after Rosemary and using their feud on the Indies as a basis for that. There's a number of different things they could do. It practically writes itself. It would be so easy to get Cherry Bomb in there. It would take no work at all. And we all want to see this happen. Hashtag Cherry Bomb for TweetNA. Tweet Dixie Carter. Tweet John Gaburek. Tweet Impact Wrestling. Let me guess, Micah's with his brother in the Bullet Club now. I really don't care. I was never impressed with Micah in the first place. Would you want Lance Hoyt back? I could take him personally. I would take him personally. Plus, he kayfabe-wise left TNA because he lost the off-the-wagon challenge, so he already has a reason to go after beer money. The Heelcast squad guys have been talking up Killer Elite Squad a lot. I'm not familiar with them personally, but apparently these guys have become a really good team. And apparently Lance Hoyt is not the same Lance Hoyt that he was the last time he was in TNA. I trust Raven Effect knows what he's talking about. He's been talking them up a lot, so apparently they've turned into a really great team, and TNA could certainly use better tag teams right now. Well, new tag teams, more tag teams, rather. So I'd like to see that happen. Your thoughts on Ken Anderson leaving? Well, if the rumors are true, he did that to himself. He failed a drug test at the TV tapings, or he was supposedly under the influence of something during a match, which led to that match being cut from the show. I don't know exactly what happened there, but if that's what really happened, then the guy did it to himself. And they can't really tolerate that kind of behavior. It's unfortunate because I thought the guy did have, stuff to offer, and he was underrated in a lot of ways, but that's what happens. Killer Elite Squad and TNA, super idea. Okay. Yeah, and that's another case of guys who want to work for the company. Lance Hoyt has been retweeting that stuff whenever somebody says on Twitter, sign these people. He retweets that, so he wants in. And like I said, they could certainly use more tag teams right now because the pickings are pretty slim. Now that Anderson's gone, they can sign new people, as I didn't even know that Anderson is one of their top 10 highest paid talents for 2015. Was he really? Well, a former WWE guy, I guess. Yeah, so that contract coming off the books means there's more money available to sign new people. They could get, they could probably get, a couple of indie people for the money that Anderson was getting paid. They could get Shinron. They could get Shinron and Cherry Bomb, at least. I bet. I think that's a pretty safe bet they could get those two for the money Anderson was making, if not more people. I did happen to notice that they cut most of the wrestlers' entrances. Yeah. Something must have ran long. So it's really frustrating. Cutting the entrances is one of my big pet peeves because it looks cheap. One, it looks like the production team screwed up, and it looks like the people whose entrances are cut are just not a big deal. They get the jobber treatment basically, and it's stupid. It doesn't help them get over. It works against them, and the show looks too post-produced when that happens, and that really bugs me. And I think there were other things that could have been cut. You could cut the Grado shit so easily. God, does anyone outside of the UK care about that? Ugh. Or You could have taken Dixie Carter out of the opening segment. Like I said, I didn't think she needed to be there, really. And she tends to kind of go on for a while when she's out there. Whatever. The entrances weren't the first things I would have cut. I think you could have made a different decision there. Tama Tonga did say something about challenging for the tag titles with a new member of the Bullet Club who hasn't been seen before in New Japan, so that's my first guess. Whatever. Yep, he's with the Bullet Club. Okay, all right. Okay, so Micah's with the Bullet Club. I don't really care, but whatever. Thoughts on JBL's commentary on Raw this week, last week, every week? I think JBL is a good commentator when he's not in shill mode and when he doesn't have Vince screaming in his ear telling him what to say. There was a time when I thought he was a really great commentator. That might have been during his initial run as a commentator. I'm not sure when that was exactly. These days he's kind of insufferable though. I don't know what happened. Maybe it's for the same reason that Taz started out as a good commentator and then became a not so good commentator. I don't know. Maybe JBL just doesn't really care anymore, and he's just shilling whatever he's told to shill. Yeah, the commentary ain't so good anymore. When do you do the Impact stream reviews? Usually I happen to miss it somehow, but I made it this week. There's no set time for them. I do them Saturday afternoon. I try to do it around 3 or 4, usually. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't, because I have other stuff to do and I just don't get around to it. But it's usually Saturday afternoon. Well, it's always Saturday afternoon. There's no set time, though. I try to do it between 3 and 6. But it doesn't always work out. With the exception of Jeff versus EY, the card for next week doesn't look interesting at all. Matt and EC3 again. Maria and Mike versus Gale and Drew. Really? Lackluster to say the least. Yeah, so Maria's going to be wrestling next week. So that thing about her never getting in the ring didn't last very long, unfortunately. I'm hoping there will be a twist there. Maybe she'll bring in somebody else to work for her. Because I thought they had something interesting there with her refusing to wrestle, because that provides a different type of challenge for Gale. Because normally her challenges are pretty straightforward. She gets an opponent and she beats them. But here, the challenge is that the opponent doesn't wrestle. So how does Gale beat that? It's a different type of opponent for her. I thought that was interesting. If you have Maria get in the ring, you lose that. So I would like to see a twist there. Maria could insert Jade into the match instead. That would be fine. Or she could bring in somebody else, like a Cherry Bomb, like a Jennifer Blake. That would be great too. There are certain things they can do there. Jeff Hardy versus EY makes sense to do. My problem is they've spent the entire UK tour making Eric Young look bad for the most part. He lost several matches. He was embarrassed by Lashley. He won the King of the Mountain title. I mean, the King of the Mountain match, rather. But again, that match was just thrown out there like filler. So that doesn't really mean much. Especially not when compared to the way he was booked for a number of weeks prior to that. So they kind of took the moment of EY pile driving Jeff through a table, which put a lot of heat on Eric, and they kind of ruined that. Nobody really remembers that now. And then Matt versus EC3 again. I'm not sure why that is happening, to be honest. Now, EC3, they had the title match. That won, and then they had the rematch. EC3's contractually obligated rematch, which, again, Matt won. So I'm not sure how this match is happening, because Matt said they weren't going to wrestle anymore. And then suddenly they're having another match. I'd like to see that get explained. Because it doesn't really make sense. And something I'm excited about for Tuesday is that supposedly there are rumors that new talents are going to be debuting. So I'm crossing my fingers that we get some good ones. So we'll see. I don't know, but I kind of think the Dollhouse need a new theme. I'm not feeling doll parts anymore. Maybe TNA could remix the song or something. Yeah, I kind of agree. I'd like to see them get, at least jazz up this theme somehow. Make it, like, do a remix. Make it a little, not catchier, but a little more upbeat, maybe. Because, I don't know, it's kind of a downer. Excuse me. Yeah, it's kind of a slow-paced thing. It kind of feels like a theme that you would play, to kind of troll the crowd. Like, maybe, like you get the baby faces out there with some really fast-paced, upbeat music to get the crowd really going and really excited, and then, I am doll parts, and then it's something to kind of bring the crowd down after they get excited as a way of trolling them. They haven't really been utilizing it like that, though. So I would like to see a different theme. I don't expect they'll get one, because this is an actual song from a musical artist, which I'm sure we have Billy Corgan to thank for that, so it's something, it probably beats anything that Dale Oliver would churn out. So I don't expect we'll get a different theme for them anytime soon. I would like to see them maybe make some adjustments to it, though. After Maria... After Mania presumed Reigns is champ, how do you think the crowd will react to Reigns? I have a gut feeling Reigns will get full-blown booed or mixed reactions. Oh, nothing mixed about it. I absolutely expect him to get booed. I think he'll get booed out of the building at Mania, unless they do something between now and then to really change people's minds about him. And pushing Dean Ambrose in his place is not going to do it. So yeah, he's going to get a real negative reaction at Mania, and almost certainly the following Raw. Did you see my tweet where I said Cherry Bomb for TNA revive the X Division, and Cherry Bomb retweeted me? I don't know if I saw that specific one, but Cherry Bomb is not shy about retweeting those things because she wants to work for the company. So if you tweet to them that you want to see Cherry Bomb get signed, she'll probably like it and retweet it because she's cool like that. And again, she wants in, and she's not shy about letting people know that. Now, as opposed to, say, Velvet Sky, for example, who's not shy about letting people know that she wants to work for WWE. Is it any wonder why I prefer Cherry Bomb? I wish TNA would get rid of Gaburik. I wish they'd replace him as head of creative. Probably head of talent relations. He's probably got a lot of uses as a production guy, though. But yeah, I don't think he's best utilized where he is right now. TNA didn't put on clips of their YouTube page, on their YouTube page for the Wolves versus Beer Money King of the Mountain match, nor that. Sorry. TNA did not put up clips on their YouTube page for the Wolves versus Beer Money match, the King of the Mountain match, or Angle's match with Lashley, yet they have a video of Grado. Oh, boy. I don't know, maybe they'll put that stuff up later. I hope I don't see Grado in Orlando. You and me both. Why do we honestly need the King of the Mountain Championship if it's not going to be used as a decent utility championship? They might as well do away with it. I wish they would do away with it. That belt is cursed. I mean, you want a mid-card title? Okay. Get a real one. Get a belt that was not pulled out of a suitcase by Booker T as a vanity belt. You know, get a belt that doesn't have such a joke of a title history. Get a real one. Not a fan of the King of the Mountain Championship. Yeah. Rational. I'm going to the tapings in Orlando. Okay, cool. Grado sucks. Agreed. Can't believe Grado was ever put on TV. And neither can I. And yeah, cutting the entrances and lack of promotion for high caliber matches is a bit annoying. More than a bit. Yeah, they basically mentioned that it would be Tavita Fafita. I don't know who that is. I kind of wanted to see that Willow spray Mandrews as I thought it was supposed to be part of the UK tapings. I guess we're not going to see it. Now, that was an Explosion match, I believe, so it'll probably be put up on the YouTube page at some point. But Explosion is a number of weeks behind Impact, so they tape those things well in advance. So you might have to wait a number of weeks to see the match, but it'll be up on the YouTube page eventually. If I see Grado in Orlando, I'll shit. Make a sign of that. Make a sign of that and let them see it on the show. Grado shit. Drew needs to make use of his case by putting it on the line even outside of TNA, not with anybody but the top-tier athletes of a promotion. You mean in indie matches? Putting it on the line in indie matches? Why would he do that? That would make no sense. Last week I heard you met some wrestlers like Jade, Mickie James, and who else? I thought you said Daniel Bryan, or someone. Yeah. Yeah, he was Bryan Danielson at the time. But yeah, I met all those people at the same show, actually. Yeah, they were all super cool people. Jade and Bryan Danielson were two of the nicest wrestlers I've ever met. Yeah, both really, really cool people. Jade actually talked to me for a couple of minutes. Yeah, this is before she was Jade, but she was Mia Yim back then. But it wasn't at an autograph signing or anything. I met her in the hallway after the show, and she was on her way out. She actually talked to me for a couple of minutes, and she's a really cool person. I'm really happy that she's on TV somewhere, getting a shot on one of the bigger promotions and on television. I think she deserves that. She's a really cool person. Hello, Fool Killer. Hello. I don't know what will be more annoying next week, Grado or Velvet with her fake happy to be there smile. Ugh. Dude, I'm hoping Velvet... I'm hoping... Well, with any luck, neither of them will be on the show. There's probably a good chance Grado will be there. Ugh. I told you on Twitter that we got a problem on Impact, and that problem is Grado. Tell TNA that. The painful part of this is basically throwing Eli under the bus by giving this asshat a rub. I don't understand why they're doing this. Dixie Carter is supposedly a big fan of Eli Drake, so why is she making him look like such a chump? This is so counterproductive, and they're taking a guy that could be a huge deal for them and a big breakout heel for them and just throwing him under the bus. And it's stupid. Is Grado... Do they really think Grado is going to catch on anywhere outside of the UK? His appeal is so limited. Whereas Eli Drake could do big things for this company. Don't even get me started. I'll start ranting and I won't stop. I can see Lashley about to get a monster push, especially after the way he beat Angle in his last match and turned heel. Yeah, most likely. By the way, I should have told you this last week. I got Pop TV on my Uverse now. Good. Cool. So we can watch Impact now? Good. One thing that I don't know is if Kurt Angle is going to start trashing TNA again because he desperately wants to be back in WWE. I don't think he would do that. No, I think he seemed to genuinely appreciate his time in the company. I don't think he's going to be trashing them after he leaves, like certain people have before him. Eli Drake needs to move on to bigger and better things. Yeah, he should be getting a bigger push, much bigger push. Angle Lashley was okay. If the cases are chosen at random, what proof does Grado have? That's why this whole conspiracy falls apart like every useless segment Grado was in. Well, supposedly the story is that Eli Drake switched the cases, unbeknownst to him. I'm assuming that's where they're going with this. Remains to be seen why that video proof of him doing so disappeared until last week. That makes no sense, but I think that's what the story is going to be. TNA treated Kurt Angle better than Mr. Anderson. Well, yeah, because he's Kurt Angle. As far as EC3 versus Matt for the live show, the only way it'll be interesting is if EC3 wins or if they will debut a new wrestler, but I doubt either of those will happen. Yeah, it seems like they're in the long... Matt as champion is in it for the long haul, and they're behind him as champion. I don't know why. Ratings have been trending downward with him as the champion when they were trending upward before he won the title. I'm expecting Lashley to get involved somehow. Hopefully it's a DQ finish and not Matt winning again. I love the part where TNA got fan videos and put them on TV saying thank you, Kurt. Yeah, that was a nice touch. I like that a lot. I feel like Grado is getting his job back, which is going to suck, and if Eli Drake gets fired, then Jesse Goddard's is screwed when it comes to tag partners, and I'll be pissed if Eli gets fired and Grado stays. Agreed on all counts. The match with Angle and the heel turn after made me change my tune about Lashley. Yeah, I felt differently about him too. That was one of the few times when I actually felt engaged with him as a character, which is a thing he has a lot of trouble with. But I thought it was done well in terms of making me give a shit about Lashley one way or another. So that was effective. Hashtag fuck you and go away, Grado. Can't stand the way Gale is being booked, but I also don't want Maria either, so it's a lose-lose feud that only makes the division even more boring. Yeah, I agree. I don't want Gail Kim to be the Knockouts champion anymore, but I don't want Maria to be the champion. So that's why I'm not looking forward to this idea of Maria getting in the ring. I really hope that doesn't happen. I think she's far more effective and far more useful and far more interesting as an antagonist for Gail who does not get in the ring. I think there's a much better story they can tell with that. Plus, we don't run the risk of Maria winning the Knockouts title that way. I bet Grado will show up in Orlando. I hope not. Holy shit. There's a lot of stuff going on. Holy, look at all these... Oh my god. Okay, Alright, you know what? Get your final questions and comments in now. I will put the cutoff point down below in a minute. Because there's a ton of questions here, and it's going to take me a while to answer them, so I think that'll be good for now. So just get your final comments in, and then we can talk about wrapping this up. I'm generally hoping now that Kurt Angle and Anderson are gone and TNA don't get to waste money on them anymore, the TNA better off signing at least 3 to 5 new talents for Live Impact next week. Well, they were never wasting money on Kurt Angle. No, he was worth every penny. You could make a case for Anderson, I guess. They weren't really using him that much anyway to begin. Really using him much these days anyway. But no, Angle is going to be very sorely missed. He was worth the money. Hoping that Cherry or Jennifer Blake debut next week. One of them, both of them, that would be awesome. Fingers crossed. If Grado does show up in Orlando, I'll be pissed and unhappy as fuck. Hopefully no Grado in Orlando. Yeah, we're all on the same page there. I hate that Impact doesn't take the word fired seriously. Example, like the Feaster fired, both Velvet and Grado got the fired briefcase, and somehow a couple weeks later they're back. Yeah, no, that stipulation means nothing anymore. There were times when they tried to stick with it, But now, when you make it into a storyline here, every time you do that, you're just taking the punch out of the stipulation. It doesn't mean anything anymore. It's just become a joke. Especially when it's a horribly written angle like this Grado shit has been. It's stupid. How are we supposed to take it seriously when someone gets the fired case now? Because apparently all it takes to get back on the show is putting on a mask and changing their name. That's all it takes. The whole thing is really fucking stupid. I hate it. If Grado shows up next week, I will complain on the internet. If Fat Lodi goes over EC3 next week, I will complain about it on the internet. Okay. There will be much complaining on the internet next week. I think until they sign a lot of new talent, these current feuds will drag on for a long-ass time. Most likely, yeah. Raquel is one hottie. Did you all see her risque photos leaked online? No, I did not see that. She's hot, sure. But, so is Lacey Von Erich. Being hot is not enough of a reason to be on television. You need to know what you're doing there. And, they signed her and put her on TV with virtually no experience at all, so I really question what they think is going to happen with that. Thoughts on Micah joining the Bullet Club? I don't have any. I don't care. No, Velvet left for a couple of months, then came back in May of last year. Well, she still came back pretty soon after getting fired. And Grado keeps coming back every week. Velvet's comeback is better than Grado's. Would you agree on that? No. Velvet coming back was stupid. At least it was written better, because it actually felt like someone who was fired and came back and tried to get their job back, sort of. At least they had some rules in that storyline and they stuck to them. Because Velvet didn't just change her, put on a mask and come back and wrestle. No, she was someone who got fired, and then she came back as a pissed off ex-employee. In that sense, it was written better. But it was still stupid. Because Velvet was trying to play like the tough street chick now, and it was just horribly unconvincing. Oh, the angry assholes of the OIWC, shots fired. Well, we're all pretty much a bunch of angry assholes, aren't we? With Jade losing to Gale now what for her? I don't know. I assume they're going to keep throwing her at Gale. But Jade's credibility is in a very shaky place right now, so unless she needs to get wins, and I don't know how many wins she's going to get against Gale. I mean, Gale let her pin her once, but, she got that win back very quickly. So unless they make Gale a little bit more beatable, I'm terribly optimistic about Jade's chances in this feud. This will be the worst WrestleMania card of all time. Of all time? I don't know about that. It's not shaping up to look very promising, though. Did you ever play Silent Hill on PS1? No. That was before I knew that Silent Hill was a thing. I've kind of learned a little bit about Silent Hill. A lot of that was through Linkara's videos about the comics, but I've read a little bit about the game. I've read the story in Wikipedia and stuff, and I've seen some Let's Plays and things like that. Looks like an interesting game. I have not played it myself, though. I think the story is cool, however. I think definitely EC3 needs to win the title next week, as I think Matt Hardy would be better as a whiny character chasing and crying over how he lost the belt. Well, that would be better than Matt Hardy having the belt. Okay. And the cutoff point is going in now. And that'll be where we wrap things up for the night. Boom. Wow. Bray Wyatt deserves so much better. I would have booked him as a guy who earns accolades in his own mind in the form of ending careers. Well, that'd be a more effective way of getting him over than having him lose every big match. Hashtag the new farce of fear. Would Pope be a more suitable spokesperson for Lashley, being that he's going to be on a difficult road of getting people invested in him, seeing him as a heel? Pope would be a great mouthpiece for Lashley, sure. Let's see. I wish Kurt would have passed on some mic skills to Lashley and some of that class to Gail Kim. If only such a thing were possible. What's the point of doing Gail versus Jade when over the past year Gail has buried the dollhouse 6 feet under the core of the earth? Well, who the hell else can Gail feud with right now? The heels in the Knockout division are Jade, Marty, and Rebel. And Maria, who doesn't wrestle, at least not yet. So, of those people, who would you prefer that Gail feud with? Jade is the best option and the only option right now. Until they get more girls. Oh, no. Well, they could put Rosemary in there, but she's not wrestling yet. I don't know why. So, it might not be an ideal situation at the moment, but it's the best option of a very limited number of options, is Gail and Jade. If they didn't do the Great Out crap or the Mike Bennett segment, I think the King of the Mountain match would have been longer. Then again, the rest was probably wrestled already in the same day. Yeah, like I said, was not big on how the show was timed. I think it was poorly timed. I think there were certain things that could have been cut, and I don't think those cuts happened in the right places. Let's put it that way. Magnus just did an interview. Said that all GFW talents are free agents because GFW is a startup company and not any ability to sign talents to long-term contracts. Okay. Lashley having a valet mouthpiece is as good as him being a heel by himself anyway, given that it doesn't involve a stable or alliance of any sorts, so that should be fine. Well, the mouthpiece needs to be able to talk. Just saying. So Raquel probably wouldn't work. How would you feel if Magnus and Mickie James return next week during the live impacts? Both wrestlers are doing storylines and feuds together as a team. I'd like to see Magnus back. That'd be fine. Would not care to see Mickie James back. I'm a fan of Mickie. I've always been a fan of Mickie, but the Knockout division is in a place where it needs to move forward, not backward. I want to see new knockouts. Your Cherry Bomb, your Jennifer Blake, people like that. You know, I think Mickey's great, but she could probably still perform great. But I feel like she's done everything she's going to do, at least in this company. I want to see those spots go to new people so we can move this division forward and evolve it and progress it. And, Mickey's a part of the old guard now. And I think the time has come to start slowly phasing those people out and phasing the new generation in. Why is TNA putting Grado on TV so much? Nobody likes this dude. He has no talent. But there he is every freaking week. And because it's the UK tour, and UK fans like him, I don't know why. TNA has done a tremendous job with the EC3 character. He went from a pampered rich kid to an ass-kicking machine. WWE should take notes from TNA on how to properly book a babyface cough Roman Reigns. There's a great case for EC3 being the best built homegrown star TNA have ever produced. They have not made a single mistake with how they pushed him. Well, at least until Matt Hardy came around. But yeah, they pretty much hit it out of the ballpark every time with EC3, and that's they have not screwed him up once. They've turned him into their top guy, which is fantastic. You know, it's a pretty rare occurrence when something like that happens, but they pulled it off. And I think TNA have done a more effective job building up EC3 than WWE have with Roman Reigns. That's for damn sure. Gail may not be pandering to the WWE like that idiot Velvet, but she is just as bad. Keeping the feud talents down and her as the champion, who does that benefit other than her massive ego? I want to say, I'd love to be able to say that it's not a question of ego with Gail. Maybe she just doesn't realize how counterproductive her remaining the champion has become. I'd really like to think there's no malicious intent on her part, and it's not about ego. It's not about her putting herself over. But man, it gets hard to think that way sometimes. It really does. WWE better not screw up Finn Balor when he eventually comes to the main roster. Fingers crossed. Thoughts on Raw? I don't know. Already kind of talked about that. I think they talked about Roadblock more than WrestleMania. The whole Shane McMahon Undertaker thing is a creative mess. I don't know how the hell you put Shane over the Undertaker without turning him heel. And I thought the whole point was to have Shane oust the Authority from power, thus making him a babyface and giving us something different for a change. But if you turn him heel, it's just the same thing. Swapping out one heel Authority figure for another. I don't know why the Undertaker is cool with being used by Vince in this way. That doesn't make sense. Sorry. And, of course, the whole Triple H Ambrose thing, which I already went over. Wasn't terribly interested in Raw. Hope they actually sign some new women and not just bring them in for a one-night-only appearance and then they leave. Oh, hell yeah. They let some really great talent slip through the cracks doing that. You bring them in for one show on the one-night-only tapings, and then we don't see them again. It's stupid. They do good on the one-night-only show, so freaking sign them. There really needs to be a shift in the direction for Jade as of right now. The Dollhouse momentum has been killed. Now I only see it maybe leading to Jade putting herself above the team. Yeah, there needs to be a shift, definitely. Because, there's nothing else they can do with the Beautiful People feud. But that represents pretty much the entirety of the division right now. So you can put Gail and Jade into this storyline with Gail and Maria. Aside from that, what else is there? What can they do? They do need a new direction, but in order to do that, they need new women to feud with. I hate when wrestlers don't get entrances shown, so I agree with you. Okay, do you think Monty Brown would have been a star in TNA if they booked him correctly? Yeah. The X Division had such amazing talents back in the day, but now I don't think any talent out there on the indie scene is nearly as good as in their prime. AJ, Joe Daniels, PD, Low-Key, etc. I think there are people out there up on that level. You just have to find them. Grado is being put on TV because he's apparently very huge and hot talents over in the UK right now, and that's the only reason I can think of why he's getting so much screen time. Yeah, that's the only reason. Is Brian Cage under any contract right now? I think he should return. Is he under any contract? I don't know. Okay, Cage is in Lucha Underground. Okay, that answers that. I'm hoping that too. as it's a swerve with Maria Wrestling. Yeah. Hope Maria being in that match is just a swerve and they end up putting someone else in there. Because she said that she wasn't going to get in the ring, and I'd like her to see her stick to that. Just something I thought at random, but would a faction work as a door? Could a faction work as a doorway if it's not overly utilized? What I mean is having a faction transition from the indies and square off with TNA talent. You mean like an invasion? Like bringing a faction off the indies and putting them in TNA? If it wasn't used as an invasion angle, maybe. I guess it would depend on the faction. It would also depend on the storyline. No more invasion angles, please, though. I don't keep up with Lucha Underground much, but I did hear talent is unhappy with creative and wants to leave. Alright, I don't really follow Lucha Underground, so I'll take your word for it. Some factions be booked in a way the Bullet Club... Should factions be booked in a way the Bullet Club has been with members having certain roles? Well, I don't really know how the Bullet Club has been booked. I do think all factions should have a specific role for each member, though. This is something that TNA has really had a problem with in the past. Reference Immortal, where it was just a giant schmoz of bodies and nobody stood out. I think if you keep the factions relatively small, so each person has a specific role, like this one is the talker, this one is the muscle, this one is the enforcer, this one is the high flyer, or whatever. I think then you are more effectively able to showcase each member if each guy brings something different to the table. And so I like having specific roles for every person involved. They're doing that well with the Decay right now, actually. You know, Abyss is the muscle. Crazy Steve is the X Division style guy, and then you got the Knockout in there. So they're all different, and so you get a different mix of talents in there. So that's being done well so far. If TNA does sign Cherry Bomb and she has her feud with Rosemary, that feud will overshadow Gail and Maria, which would be great. That would be great. You know, I said this last week. Cherry Bomb and Courtney Rush on the Indies is the best feud in women's wrestling, period, right now. You know, and I'll fight you on that. Their feud in Smash Wrestling is fantastic. You know, all the little things they do, you know, all the ways they kind of attack each other on Twitter, and it's the promos and stuff. It's just great stuff. It's so much more interesting than anything Gail has done in a long time. Do the Motor City Machine Guns still wrestle? Yeah, I think they've just reteamed in ROH. Yeah. Cherry Bomb can align herself with Beer Money against the Decay. There you go. I suggested that myself not long ago. The problem with your idea, Michael Walker, is that TNA has been trying to work with other promotions, but most aren't interested. I thought ICW would be a perfect fit, but but for now that's a question. It's out of the question with ICW fans. Check fuck TNA. Yeah. Okay. You know, when some fans are getting tired of Gail, when most of the comments about her matches are not about how good they are, but how hot she is. And how they want her to put over the other person. Don't forget about that. The best way to catch FK live streams on it is to favorite his Twitter account. Best way to catch the live streams is to favorite his Twitter account on Saturday by hitting the star by his name, so every time he tweets, you will see it in your notification right away. Yeah, if you want to catch the live streams, just follow me on Twitter. I post a notification there before we start every time, so that's the best way. I know we don't have a set time for the streams on Saturday night, or Saturday afternoon, rather, but you can find that if you follow me on Twitter. TNA needs someone better to run their website. That thing is so out of date and sloppy. Oh, agreed. They got a freaking monkey working that website. They had Bully Ray still on the roster page for months after he returned to the WWE. It's kind of embarrassing, really. I kind of wanted the Knockout tag titles back, but on one condition, that the Knockouts can get their own separate 1-hour TV show so they can properly rebuild the division. Okay, well, that's not happening anytime soon. Plus, if they wanted the Knockout tag titles back, they would need about 3 times the women they have right now, at least. I don't like both TNA and WWE new updated websites, as it takes forever to load. Both pages look dull, in my opinion. I haven't seen WWE's new website. TNA's website is not impressive at all. I think it looks kind of half-assed, honestly. Just looks like they didn't put any effort into that thing, which is unfortunate. Why are Austin Aries, Brooke Tessmacher, Mickie James, and Taryn Terrell roster pages on the TNA website? Why are all those people still on the roster page? Because they have a monkey working the website, and it's never updated. That's pretty much the only reason. Is Fourth Dimension Fool Killer on the Legends of Tomorrow writing staff, given how the show is written? So you think that Fourth Dimension Fool Killer is writing that show horribly on purpose, just to piss me off? My guess would be no. Just because I don't think he would like working on that show any more than I enjoy watching it. Although it does seem like something he would do. What current wrestlers / knockouts would you release from TNA? What was that I would release? Velvet Sky, for starters. Angelina Love. Madison, I don't know. I guess she's useful as a utility player, but I'd be in the process of phasing her out. Also, which one of the male wrestlers? Grado, for starters. Chris Melendez. I guess Mahabali Shera. I know he's got usefulness as gateway star over in India, but I think there's better Indian talents that would probably be better for that spot. Who the hell else? I don't know. That's a few of them. I don't think Pepper Parks is ready for TNA yet. He looks more like an indie guy. Do you see any talent from him? He had a match on the One Night Only show recently that I thought was good. I thought he did well in the match with Mike Bennett on Impact. He actually had a better physique than Mike Bennett. I think he's more ready than a lot of people, than a lot of other people. What do you think of Taya's intergender match on Lucha? Taya Valkyrie? Well, I don't watch Lucha Underground, so. Why did TNA not try to sign her? Probably because she's under contract with Lucha Underground, so she's not available. No, I have not seen that match. I do like Taya Valkyrie, though. Maybe not as much as I like some other people, but she's got talent. Who do you think should beat Matt Hardy for the world title? I don't know. They've got a number of people that it could be. I think best guess would be Jeff Hardy, maybe. I'd like it to be EC3, but I don't think that's going to happen. My guess is they'll have it be Jeff Hardy probably around Slammiversary, and then maybe build up to Jeff versus EC3 at Bound for Glory, or Jeff versus Lashley, perhaps. Or they could do Drew Galloway. I don't think it would take too much work for that to happen. They got to do some character work on Drew, but they could do that without too much trouble. Eli Drake is extremely overrated. Not as a talker. No, he's a great talker. I don't think he's had a good showcase to really display what he can do as a wrestler yet. That's not his fault. I think as a talker and a character, he's A+. Could Maria have improved in the ring like Brooke did, or is she just all about having great ass and mic skills? Maybe she has improved. Could she have improved in the ring? I don't know. Maybe she had a lot of time to do so and didn't really seem to improve all that much. I don't know what kind of worker she is these days. People tell me she's gotten better. I don't know how much I believe that. Uh, but I think Brooke had a lot of more natural ability than I've ever seen from Maria. I guess most people probably can improve if they train hard enough, but how much talent they actually have for wrestling is a pretty big factor in that. I think Brooke happened to have a good deal of talent. I don't know if Maria has that much. Hope TNA swerves everyone and has EC3 win the title back. Fat Lardy sucks. Agree. That would be nice. I think Taryn, Brooke, and Kong are people that Jade could have beaten to give her more cred, but with only Gale and Madison, that's just not enough talent there to put her over. Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why losing Kong was really harmful. I think in a way, Kong leaving was kind of a blessing in disguise, just because it's forcing them uh, to build up new rivalries, and because they can't rely on Gale versus Kong anymore. So it's kind of forcing them to push new people. But it does really suck that this happened before Kong could put over Jade. And same thing with Tara, and same thing with Brooke. It's really unfortunate. Okay. And people continuing to post questions. So I'm going to put another cutoff point here. I will answer the last of these because there were a bunch of comments that happened that came in under the cutoff point. I don't know why. But that'll be it right there on the bottom there. That's where we're going to stop. I'm going to go to the bathroom real quick. And I'll be right back, and then I'll answer the rest of these, and then we'll call it a night, because I got to do stuff. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. Let's get through the last of these questions here. Hold on. You predicted Jericho would turn heel and Styles become babyface. Are you psychic? No. I think most of us were predicting that. Seemed kind of obvious that that's where it was headed. Wasn't a big surprise. As far as the Decay, should they jump into a feud with Beer Money or do something else? No, they should feud with Beer Money now. Because Beer Money's got a feud with somebody, and the Decay are the only new tag team they have that the company has put any effort into making look good or featuring prominently or trying to get over. I mean, your only other options are Eli Drake and Jesse Goddard, and if they can't even beat Grado, then they're not going to do well against Beer Money. And also EY and Bram, who I guess are going to be feuding with Jeff Hardy, and they haven't been looking that good either lately. They've been getting embarrassed by Lashley and losing matches. The Decay at least have the company has put some effort into making them look like a unit and look like stars. You see those music videos with the Manson song that's been playing every week now, and the Decay seem to be catching on with fans. There's a lot of support for them on social media. So I think they absolutely should feud Beer Money with the Decay. I think the Decay should win the tag titles from them in the not too distant future. Okay. What special things do you think TNA will do for their 15-year anniversary next year? Uh, will they do anything special? Oh, they might. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think doing anything special to celebrate anniversaries is really what they're concerned with right now. Really, I think they passed a milestone as far as the number of shows they produced. Maybe I don't know what number it was, 300, 400, 500, something like that. They passed that a while back, and they didn't even mention it on the show. When every time Raw hits another milestone, like we've done 1,000 shows in a row or something like that. They always make a big deal out of that. They scream that from the rooftops to anyone who will listen. I think TNA hit a milestone a while back. They didn't even mention it on the show, so I don't know if they'll do anything special. They'll probably just be business as usual, really. How do you feel the X Division campaign is going? I hope that maybe Dixie sees it with any luck. I think it could be going a lot worse. I think I've seen a lot of people tweeting the stuff, retweeting the stuff, and guys like Shinron, they want in. I think he's been retweeting it, and I think it's going well. We need all the support we can get, though. So please continue tweeting, sending your messages to Dixie Carter, John Gaburick, Impact Wrestling, # Revive the X Division. It's going to take a lot of people to kind of get their attention, and we're trying to do that because we all want to create some positive change in this company. So just tweet them every day. Don't be shy about it. Let them know how you feel. You want the X Division back. Let's see. Black Mask versus Two-Face. Who wins? I don't know who Black Mask is, so I don't know. I was hoping Kaz and Daniels would return, but doesn't look likely, at least for Daniels, but as still open to it as there's no bad blood between them. I would love to see Bad Influence / The Addiction return. I don't know if that's possible at this point. I think I suspect that window may be closed by now, because maybe their team is going in like a different direction, a younger direction, and so I don't know if I don't know. I would, if I had to guess, I would suspect that Kaz and Daniels will stay in ROH. I would love to have them back, though, because God, those two are entertaining as hell. Doesn't seem like there's any bad blood, though, so that's a positive. I think you were a little hard on the knockouts. Gale and Jade put on a great match. No, I agree. It was a very good match. It was the best knockouts match we've seen in a while. I do agree with you that the beautiful people should no longer be in TNA. Okay. So, seems like we're on the same page here. I agree with you. Gale versus Jade was a great match. My problem is with, one, Jade's entrance being cut, which did her no favors. Also, the fact that she lost. Jade does not need to be losing matches right now. They should be making an effort to build her up as much as possible. Again, I'm not saying that she needed to win the title in that match, but anything other than her getting pinned, it just... They have so few options as far as heels are concerned in this division right now. And Gale, once again, beating the closest thing they have to a credible heel is just, it's not a good idea. I think it's a mistake. Frankly, I'm starting to get a little annoyed that Gale won't march into the writer's room and tell them that, hey, we should be doing more about this situation. Because, I mean, she's the figure point. She's the figurehead. She's the leader. I really wish she would do something about that. The fact that she doesn't seem to be doing that is a concern that I have. If TNA brought in Cherry Bomb for a one-night-only show, would that be enough to satisfy you, or would you call bullshit if it's not on Impact? No, that would not be enough. I want to see her on Impact. I want to see her under contract. Bringing her in for a one-night-only show is okay. They've done that a number of times. But so what? The one-night-only shows have no storyline relevance to the product. They're just basically exactly what the name suggests. They're one-off shows that don't really mean anything to the product in the grand scheme of things. I want to see Cherry Bomb on TV, on Impact every week in feuds and storylines and stuff like that. One-night-only shows are fine for trying out these people, but you know what? You've tried Cherry Bomb out a number of times now. She's always done a great job, so fucking sign this person and get her on the show. Hashtag Cherry Bomb for TNA. Tweet Impact Wrestling. Tweet Dixie Carter. Tweet John Gaburek. Let's get her on TV fucking Tuesday. Because that can happen with one phone call. I'm hoping Kurt returns to TNA after his one-year hiatus, but only in a non-wrestling role. Maybe on commentary with Josh and the Pope. Nah, I think Josh and the Pope are fine. I don't think there's any need to put another person in there. Deadshot versus the Red Hood? Who wins? I don't know. I'll say Deadshot since Red Hood is kind of a tool. TNA seems to be moving in the right direction. By the way, did you see Marilyn Manson with the Decay? I saw the music video incorporating footage of Marilyn Manson in it. I thought that was awesome. It's little things like that that make the Decay look legit. And again, thank you, Billy Corgan, for no doubt getting the rights to use that stuff. With TNA investor talk, how would you feel if they sold minority ownership to CBS and Lionsgate? Well, I don't... Well, that might give them more security as far as keeping their TV deal. If CBS had a stake in it, in the company, it would also probably limit them and make them more corporate. Probably not allow them to do certain things. They would have somebody to answer to now, which is not necessarily a good thing. Or it could be, who knows. I don't know. I think I would prefer any investors not be the network. Because, the day might come when they'd want to go to another channel, or a bigger channel, perhaps. And, can't do that if you're owned by CBS. Or go to another CBS-owned channel. I don't know. If I were TNA, I would sign guys in the X Division like Shinron, Speedball? Bailey, Ibushi, and Marty Scurll. I don't know who some of these people are. Shinron, yes, I'd love to see him get signed. Tweet to TNA. Hashtag revive the X Division. Marty Scurll, he'd be cool. Haven't seen what he's doing with that new gimmick lately, but yeah. Let's see. I'd like to see PJ Black, Ryan Myers, Cherry Bomb, Jennifer Blake, Kaylee Ray to come back. Hashtag. Yeah, okay. Not interested in PJ Black. I don't. The guy can wrestle. I just don't care for him character-wise. Hell yeah to the women though. Cherry Bomb, Jennifer Blake, Kaylee Ray. That'd be awesome. Okay. TNA has just been selling themselves short a lot. I can understand why most people wouldn't want to bargain with them. Well, their bargaining power isn't really what it used to be. That's going to be an issue. What? Oh, shit. What top 10 guys do you... Top 10? Jesus Christ. They can carry TNA as top baby faces and top heels. 5 each? Wow. Well, Jeff Hardy as a face. Lashley as a heel, or... For right now, yeah. EC3 as a face or a heel. Either one. I guess Drew Galloway... He needs to work on his character. They need to give him something else because the stand-up thing didn't really catch on. I'm going to say Mike Bennett right now because, for lack of any better alternatives. They do need to work on the roster a lot because they've lost a lot of people. Beer Money, of course, as faces. Oh, God. The Wolves. How many is that? I don't even know. Yeah, notice how I didn't mention Matt Hardy in that group? Yeah. Why do you hate Grado so much? He can be their Santino. Yeah, there's a problem with that. Santino Marella is occasionally funny. And I do not find Grado funny. No, I find him to be an irritating jackass. And I can't even understand what he's saying most of the time. Hashtag go away Grado. Yeah, he sucks. Did you ever play Final Fantasy X? Hell yeah. That's actually one of my favorite games. I'm not much of a gamer, but of the ones I've played, I have a lot of affection for Final Fantasy X. I've played that one all the way through a number of times. And I still go back and play it again every once in a while. Why do people keep saying that Fourth Dimension Fool Killer is a character you play? He's clearly a sociopathic asshole and you're a pretty nice guy. I know! Like, why do people always assume that we're the same person? I don't understand that at all. Thanks. Oh, boy. Okay. I'm gonna... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I'm gonna answer these last 5 just because they're there. In the future, try to get your questions and comments in above the cutoff point. This will be it, though. Because my voice is dying out again. What's your thoughts on Mauro Ranallo? I don't really have any. I don't watch SmackDown. I watch an occasional segment here and there. From what very little I've seen, he seems to be doing a good job, so fine. What are your favorite belts? I don't know. I don't really think about title belt design. The new X Division title belt is pretty cool. No Cell Lashley, great main event apart from that. Okay. Hashtag not Cherry Bomb for TNA until Gail Kim is no longer the face of the Knockouts. So you don't want Cherry Bomb in TNA until Gail Kim is no longer the face of the Knockouts. Well, in order for Gail Kim to not be the face of the Knockouts anymore, they need new people. Because if they don't get new people, it's just going to be Gail in that spot forever. So I don't think you understand the situation there. Have you seen the Talk is Jericho podcast with the Young Bucks? No, I haven't. I'd like to see Drew Galloway cash in on EC3 and win the title. Well, EC3 is not the champion right now. And align with Mike Bennett and Maria. That's if Drew Galloway turns heel, which would be awesome, but I know Drew is cashing in on Hardy. I think Drew as a heel might be a better way to go than Drew as a face. Might help him character-wise. If you wanted to cash in on Hardy after Jeff beats Matt, that'd be interesting. I might be okay with that. I still think he needs a little bit more work to be ready for the world title. A little bit of character surgery needs to be done. I think a heel turn would help with that, though. And that is going to do it. thanks to everybody who tuned in. I'm sorry if you have trouble finding the stream sometimes. Again, we don't really have a set time for this. I try to get them done in the afternoon on Saturdays. I try to do them try to get them started between 3 and 6. Doesn't always work out that way, but I do try. But thanks for tuning in anyway. I will see you on Thursday night at 10 p.m. Eastern for the Comic Show post-show stream. In the meantime, continue sending your tweets to Dixie Carter, John Gaburek, Impact Wrestling, Dave Lagana, all those people. Tweet hashtag Revive the X Division, hashtag Cherry Bomb for TNA. I would also accept hashtag Jennifer Blake for TNA, but let's try to create some positive change. Let's try to sort of light a fire under these people to improve two divisions that really need it, that really need to be improved. So there is no reason why this change cannot start happening as early as Tuesday. I mean that. I'm serious. Just one phone call would all it takes to get Shinron in there, to get Cherry Bomb in there. It's not difficult if they just make the effort. And we want them to make the effort. That's why we're doing this. So tweet them. Revive the X Division. Cherry Bomb for TNA. Tweet them every day. Don't let up. Let's try to make something happen here. On that note, I will talk to you guys on Thursday. Peace out.